to lead Nigeria?
For instance, I'm 35, and we know two-thirds of the population is actually under 35. So by default, I represent over 60% of the population. That's one. Two, the current president was the same president the year I was born 35 years ago.
Me too.
Oh, look at that, right? So it's sort of asking, or rather driving into an AI future with analog systems, right? Not even digital. So it's important that the future of the nation is driven by someone who understands the needs of the people, the needs of the young people, because 20 years from now, we'll be the ones in the workforce still.
Okay, but that's not enough. You mentioned that there are a huge number of Nigerians that are young. I'm young, I'm Nigerian. Should I run for president too? Obviously, Buhari was also president when I was born as well.
Right.
Obviously, there has to be something more
Right.
that you're bringing to the table.
Sure, there's a whole lot more, right? So, like I did say, there are three things, three pillars that I'm running on. That's tech, education, and entrepreneurship, and I'll tell you why. Education is extremely important to teach the young people to identify the problems and the solutions to the problems we have. Technology amplifies the revolutionary and advancements we need to solve these problems, and entrepreneurship helps us to monetize these solutions, right, for ourselves and for the world. Now, with all three, Nigeria lags behind, and these are three things that I have been focused on for the past decade, right? I have worked with untapped and disconnected or underserved communities and empowering young people through tech education and entrepreneurship. In fact, I have a green card from the United States from doing all of this stuff. A few times I tried going back home to set up institutions there to sort of do these things. There were so many things that stopped me, the corruption, the environment, the stifling business environment. So for us to move our nation forward, I think we will be we're shortchanging ourselves, asking people who do not understand these three things to sort of lead us into the future.
Okay, there is obviously one point that I really do agree on with you, and that is just this idea that Nigeria has so much untapped potential.
Yeah.
Every leader that comes to power in Nigeria promises everybody the world. They promise the world, we're going to fix this, we're going to fix that, and still nothing really changes. So how are you so sure that it's going to be you? You talk about corruption, that's not just to do with the president. There are so many elements in Nigeria government where corruption exists. How is it going to be just you, one, that's going to reform all of it?
All right, so I'll say this. I usually tell people corruption is actually not a main problem. Corruption is everywhere.
It's one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one
right.
of our problems.
Now, for us to solve the problem, we have to understand it. So when a policeman stands on the street and collects 10 naira or 20 naira from cars passing by, it's not because he wants to do that. It's because he has a mouth at home to feed. Same thing with teachers. Same thing with healthcare professionals. So if we start by making sure that we can gain back the trust of our people in the nation, some of these negative outcomes, like the corruption, we're able to start curbing that. We're not doing that because most of the people who have run the country do not understand the problem. You've been out for too long, you don't understand.
Exactly, that was my question. You've been out for 16 years, it's a huge amount of, a lot's changed in Nigeria since then.
That does not mean I'm not in touch with what's going on.
Okay.
So my ability, actually being out here, has given me a different perspective to be able to look at the condition back home and understand that quality of life is extremely important because I've been able to live both of them.
Okay.
So when I go back, I'm not going back to solve the problems, no. It's engaging the people to sit down and say, okay, here are the solutions you're coming up with. Here are some of the solutions that we can apply to your solutions to come up with enriched or better solutions for our people. Okay. So it's having a different perspective that sort of enriches what we come up with at home.
Okay, I like to be a very positive person.
Sure.
And typically in politics, you have opponents just, ripping each other to shreds. Mm-hmm. Tell me three things that Buhari has done right.
Done right?
Done right, yes.
I have to think really long and hard.
Oh, come on. Three things that Buhari has done right.
The fact that I can't even tell you, I think is a problem. I don't know how many Nigerians that can tell you that.
Do you think that, obviously he was president when we were born.
Yes.
He was a disciplinarian, right? Growing up, he was a very strict sort of disciplinarian. Isn't that something that he brings to the table in terms of leading Nigeria?
How far has it gotten us?
Okay, so you clearly have nothing nice to say about Buhari at all.
I have nothing negative to say as well. The only thing I'm saying is Buhari is older than the nation. Nigeria is only 58, right? Buhari is close to 80, right? He doesn't. I respect my elders. I respect him as an elder. But Buhari does not have what it takes to lead Nigeria into the fourth industrial revolution. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
And not just him, but our current crop of leaders.
You know, a lot of people look at you and just say, you know, this is great. Obviously, he's well educated, he's got a lot of accolades, he's well traveled, and he's idealistic. But, you know, he's just a kid. He's only in his 30s. What can he really bring to the table? Given that perception of you already, what is going to be your campaign strategy?
I can't talk about technology, education, and entrepreneurship and try to do politics like Nigerian politicians, right? So our strategy is technology focused, is very heavy on technology and coming up with brilliant and novel strategies, for the lack of a better word, in making sure we get our message across. There's a high penetration, mobile penetration in Nigeria. About 140 to 160 million people are connected online. So this election, actually, in my opinion, would be on social media, right? But it's also important to understand that you have to reach the grassroots people. So I have a team back home right now. We're making sure that our capacity to reach everyone that we need to talk to is on point, at least the 18 to 35-year-olds. The older ones can join us as well if they want to, but our focus right now is 18 to 35-year-olds and making sure they engage, they understand the importance of this election and their futures and how it affects their futures. And hey, let's make history together.